Tonight, fire authorities brace for expected catastrophic fire conditions. South Australians warned to get prepared. And millions of dollars to flow into fixing South Australian roads.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with Louise Hedger begins now.
Good evening. Authorities are bracing for catastrophic fire conditions tomorrow and have closed some schools and national parks across South Australia in preparation. Scorching temperatures and gusty winds are predicted, with residents in all areas warned to stay on high alert.
Authorities preparing for the worst, with predictions tomorrow will bring scorching temperatures and gusty winds. That combination, paired with tinderbox land, is posing a severe fire threat across much of South Australia.
From sunrise until well past midnight, this state is going to experience very difficult fire conditions.
We're experiencing really dry conditions at the moment. We haven't received the rainfall on average, so that means our soil moistures are incredibly dry.
Now it's all hands on deck, with authorities doing what they can to prepare. Dust storms are expected to cause chaos across the region, with particular concerns for Port Lincoln, as winds flick up dry topsoils and ash from last week's bushfire.
You can expect to see raised dust and ash coming off of that fire ground to make conditions even more hazardous.
Authorities aren't mincing their words about the danger.
It's as bad as it gets. That means when a fire starts, it's not possible for us to control it. It will be uncontrollable until it either runs out of fuel or we are able to extinguish it.
Those with cardiac and respiratory issues are being urged to stay inside if possible. The CFS making the unusual step of declaring a total fire ban today to avoid fires breaking out and still burning through the night.
We'll have our air resources, air operations team on standby here in Port Lincoln and across the state. We'll have all of our crews on active standby and or passive standby.
The threat is statewide, with 7 districts set to experience catastrophic conditions. That has prompted the closure of schools and national parks in high-risk areas. Temperatures are set to soar into the 40s tomorrow, with SA Power Networks saying they're prepared to shut off power as a precautionary measure. Authorities are now urging residents to make sure they have plenty of food, fuel and cash in case of that scenario.
We're as confident as we can be for tomorrow, but it's really important that the community knows that they need to be prepared as well.
Police will remain on high alert, monitoring known arsonists, while health authorities are reiterating the importance of residents staying hydrated and checking on the elderly. Nathan Rector, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A 24-year-old man has been arrested following an investigation into 2 alleged break and enters in Broken Hill. One offence is alleged to have taken place last week. A 68-year-old woman woke up around midnight to find a man standing in her doorway before he fled with jewellery. The woman was also targeted at the end of October, finding her home ransacked and property stolen. The man is facing a number of charges and was refused bail. Hundreds of millions of dollars will be spent on upgrading major roads in our region. The projects will be funded in a joint partnership between the federal and South Australian government. The Port Augusta to Perth corridor and the Horrocks Highway will receive major upgrades as part of a $415 million package. Meanwhile, $18 million will be spent on minor works across the Eyre Peninsula and the Mid-North. The Barrier Highway will be resealed and stabilised to improve safety on the road. The Goyder Highway and Cleve Road will be resealed and reconstructed, with a 110 speed to be reinstated on both roads. 4 rest areas will also be built, 2 on the Barrier Highway and 2 on the Lincoln Highway. Port Lincoln Police have charged 2 people with several offences after the stolen car they were driving and crashed was found to have explosives in it. It's alleged the man and woman who were travelling from Adelaide fled the scene on foot. An investigation of the vehicle led police to a nearby caravan park where the pair aged in their 30s and 40s were arrested. Specialist police were called in to safely dispose of the material.
It had the potential, if it was in the wrong hands, to be made into something nasty.
The incident occurred on St Andrew's Terrace yesterday morning. A Port Augusta resident passionate about the City Safe program is desperate to keep it going within the town. Barbara Rasmus is going to old school lengths to gain support, with funding coming to an end for the program at the end of next year.
For Barbara Rasmus, Port Augusta's City Safe program is what keeps her feeling secure. But funding for it has only been secured until October 2020. Now she's putting pen to paper, writing letters calling for it to be run for years to come.
Hoping that the Premier and his government will provide the funding, necessary funding, to pay for the program.
After 10 years, the program's future lies in the hands of City Council and the government, and Barbara wants community backup to help with her push.
It's not just me who's wanting the funding, it's the whole community, because if we don't get the whole community involved, we could be back to a city of mayhem as it once was.
The City Council have not yet released an update over the program. Whatever the outcome, Barbara's message remains the same.
We need to be safe.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Broken Hill Police have launched a new initiative to warn children of the importance of wearing a helmet while riding their bikes. Officers handing out free helmets to help spread their message.
No excuses not to wear one.
We do get kids that are riding around without their bike helmets, whether they think it's not cool or they don't have a helmet, lots of different reasons are given to us.
The Barrier Police District has partnered with Transport New South Wales to help get bicycle helmets on children's heads. If police see a child riding around without a helmet this summer, they'll have a gift for them.
They'll be given a little card. That very specific card will have some information about bike safety on it. It'll also have a date on the card.
They'll have 21 days to return the card to a local police station. When they do, they'll have a talk with officers about bike safety and then be given one of these helmets featuring a local design.
You're an actual vehicle on the road when they get on the road, and you've got to abide by their road rules as well, so same as other vehicles, so it's hopefully it'll keep them safe.
More than 100 helmets are available across the communities of Menindee, Wilcannia and Broken Hill.
Some people I know, they think helmets are, lame and that, and sometimes they don't wear any helmets, so hopefully they wear these.
The fine for those not wearing a bicycle helmet used to be $52, it's now $344. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, a bus graces the streets all in the name of charity, and a new arts and cultural plan on the cards for Whyalla. Welcome back. Residents may have noticed a large double-decker bus travelling through the regions over the past week. That bus is being driven by Lawrence Norton, who is making a few stops around South Australia raising money for children's charity Elis Gift.
A rare sight at the Port Broughton Tourist Park. This bus, which travels a max of 45 kilometres an hour, has finally made it to South Australia.
When I found out about Elis Gift, I thought it was a great opportunity to actually give back to the community around me down in Melbourne, and I left on this charity drive.
The foundation works to assist families with critically ill children. It was founded by Melbourne parents Daniel and Steph Healy, who lost their son Eli to a respiratory illness.
They decided that they wanted to make sure all of their corporate funding was actually making it out to families where it really counted.
Anyone in need in that space, so from car parking to food vouchers to anything they might need to get themselves home quicker.
Now this charity is going national, with coffees traded for a $5 donation to the cause. It's already raised more than $26,000 after being on the road for 7 months.
He's selfless act, and he's done it all off his own bat. I couldn't speak more highly of Laurie and what he's done.
This renovated bus has been capturing attention in Port Broughton.
Even the local people here have been coming in from the town to say hello, and yeah, it's been amazing.
Hitting the road to Clare Valley this week and then back around the Eyre Peninsula to Port Lincoln.
If anyone wants to get in contact with us, they can look us up through Facebook, Instagram, or we have a web page, which is twiceasnice.com.au.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Augusta residents are warned a great white shark was spotted near the pontoon of the yacht club yesterday afternoon. Locals say it's not uncommon for sharks to be in waters around Port Augusta, but that area is considered rare.
Certainly down around the powerhouse and south, particularly with people going crabbing and that, they'll interact with sharks quite often, but up here is very, very rare.
It's not known how big the creature is, but residents are warned to be vigilant in the water at all times. Local school students have spent the day at Whyala's Uni SA campus learning about careers in architecture and design. Year 8 to 11s from across the Eyre Peninsula took part. The students learned about designing new colours and about the process of drawing and creating building plans.
Working with these initiatives, really simple little ideas, maybe sparks off a future they might want to carry that forward, go to Adelaide to study, but then come back and actually contribute to their community to make it a great place.
The push by the uni comes as the region prepares to begin construction of billions of dollars worth of new investments. Shoppers in the far west of New South Wales have been injecting a lot of money into local businesses recently. A gift card initiative aimed at increasing local economies has notched up a major milestone.
Live local, shop local.
We encourage people to shop locally so that in turn our local businesses benefit and it's enriching our region's economy.
Launched in December 2017, the Far West gift cards have come a long way. The program reached a big milestone this week, more than $100,000 being put onto the cards for spending at regional businesses.
So our gift cards are exclusive to the Far West, however they extend right up to Tibooburra and as low as Menindee and all of the communities in between.
The cards, like any regular FPOS gift card, money can be loaded onto them at one of the load up businesses and then it can be used at over 180 Far West stores, tourism operators and hospitality services.
Oh, it's great for the town, it's a great initiative and hopefully it boosts the economy even more having this service.
I think it's a great initiative and it definitely encourages spending in the local community.
Regional Development hoping more businesses come on board as Christmas approaches.
There is a push and a demand for people to think locally before they look online.
We definitely agree to have them within our shop so that way we can keep it all local.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A new arts centre is expected to feature in Whyalla Council's new arts plan. Stakeholders have gathered today to provide their input into the new strategy.
Whyalla's art community has grown and developed into a unique part of the city's culture. As the city prepares for a regeneration, local creatives are also looking towards their future.
How we can incorporate arts into all of those things that are happening in our city, because I think that's an important component of even sports or other precincts.
Middleback Theatre played host to the first consultation session for Council's proposed art and cultural strategic plan. They were joined by industry expert Maz McGann, who took them through a number of activities.
Amazing energy and even just sheer numbers, like the quantity of young people engaged is really, really strong.
More opportunities to perform along with a modern exhibition space were popular ideas.
If we look at the MAC redevelopment and can incorporate that somehow here, because you get a lot of other incidental attraction, people coming in.
Public meetings will be held all week with sessions at City Plaza and Westland Library tomorrow and finishing up at Old Civic Library on Thursday evening.
Art and culture makes everything better, you know, it's what makes life really interesting.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Headspace has received a generous donation from the Port Augusta Italian Club today. The organisation handing over a cheque of $2,000 to help with youth development programs over the next 2 years.
It's a great role model for the younger people that see and hear that this money is coming in from an organisation that they may not have ever heard of.
I think for us it's more about making sure that our youth have plenty of opportunities for their own personal development here in Port Augusta.
The money donated was raised from various fundraising events. Stay with us after the break. We'll have this week's Sport Wrap and the weather with Britt. Hello again. Time now to look at the region's sports results, and Port Perry's Basketball League is in full swing, now entering into round 7. Shari Hams has more.
It's early days, but Port Perry's basketball is already heating up. The Pacers and the Ducks have set the standard with both teams neck and neck at the top of the ladder. The Pacers came out on top against the Globetrotters in the recent round, winning by 8 points, Lawson Musburn continuing his good form with 20. The Ducks were too strong for the Tomcats with a 24-point win. Over to Port Augusta, Cobras and Titans had a close game with Ronald Hawke scoring 14 points for the Cobras, who got home by 1. The Wildcats were no match for the Eagles, losing by 5. Round 6 of Whyalla basketball saw the Demons clenching victory against the Roos and a close contest between the Titans and the Braves with a final score 53-50. Down to Port Lincoln and Rangers 2 were too much for Tasman to handle. Lincoln South Blue also struggled against the Peckers, losing by 19. Over to Broken Hill Tennis, and it was the last minor round before this week's finals. Drop shots upset ladder leaders' topspins. The volleys powered past backhands. Serves jagged a win against smashes. And finishing the Whyalla softball, Eagles struggled to get up against the Tigers 2-19. Roadrunners were smashed in both Friday night's clash against the Eagles and Sunday's game against the Indians. The Roadrunners also having a tough time in the baseball, losing to the Indians as well. And that's it for sports from across the region. We'll be back next week.
Now with the weather and all the warnings, here's Britt Aylen.
Thanks, Louise, and good evening. As you've mentioned, dangerous fire conditions continued across the region today with hot and dry weather. Port Augusta reached a top of 40 degrees, Broken Hill 39, Port Pirie 36, Whyalla 32, Adelaide 30, Port Lincoln 20. From the satellite, high pressure keeping skies clear. Moving along to tomorrow, southwesterly winds on the waters at around 20 to 30 knots with seas at 1 metre. And it's looking to be hot, windy and dry again tomorrow, expected to reach 44 degrees at Whyalla and Woodner. Port Augusta and Port Pirie both 43, Corn, Broken Hill, Cleve and Adelaide all 42, Clare and Kadina 41, Port Lincoln 39, Coffin Bay 37. Cooling down on Thursday with showers expected at Port Lincoln ahead of a partly cloudy end to the week. Cleve and Woodner looking fine and partly cloudy on Thursday, sunny on Friday. Whyalla and Port Augusta both fine on Thursday with maximums in the mid-20s, sunny on Friday. Kadina looking fine and partly cloudy through the remainder of the week. Port Pirie and Clare both partly cloudy on Thursday, sunny on Friday. And finally to Broken Hill with strong winds expected on Thursday ahead of a sunny end to the week. And Louise, with these extreme conditions across the region tomorrow, do take care.
Absolutely, very important. Thank you for that, Britt. And that's your local news this Tuesday evening. Thank you for joining us today. We'll have updates later, but until then, have a lovely and safe evening. Good night.